There you go.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, guys. So sorry we're running a bit late. We had to get some nourishment in. It's been a hectic week, a hectic day. But we just finished staging this Airbnb that we're in. So excited. We want to make sure that everything was 100% completed because of you guys, but also because we have guests checking in today. So yeah, we had to postpone last week's episode because we had some, just life happening, but we're super excited to be talking about staging and furnishing rental properties and all that fun stuff. So flipping houses, I think maybe part of that too. But yeah, we're actually in an Airbnb and Alyssa actually found this gem. And so we can let Alyssa talk about what she saw in this property that was like, hey, we should do this as an Airbnb.
Well, for our grouping of Airbnbs, Rochelle kind of has a specific formula. She likes two units, but small units. She's not looking for large properties, and they have to be, how do I put it? They have to have a nice flow, and they have to have clean lines. Now, when we go do the tour, that'll make sense. Not that the house has to be perfect, but it just has to be very clean in that the attention to detail was there. Ironically, when I walked into this specific house, they had a little bit of staging in it. And the staging actually reminded me of Rochelle's style and her Airbnbs. And I went, I really think this has a solid potential for an Airbnb for her. And then on top of it, the location, I knew it was kind of a little bit out of our circle, but still close enough it might be worth trying. So I thought, well, what the heck? And lo and behold, I brought her to it and she liked it. And here we are.
Totally. So as we walk through it, we're going to give you guys a tour right away. We just want to give you guys some context beforehand. And again, thank you guys for tuning in because we always appreciate that you are willing to join us and give us some of your time and that you might find some value out of hanging out with us for an hour. So when we go through it, I'll point out some of the things that we did to the property, just, obviously besides just putting furniture in and placing things the way we did, but there was just some little tweaks that would, make it a little bit more user-friendly for us and what we wanted. And it's interesting too, because this is not stuff we would do in a traditional rental. And so we can also point out the stuff that we did here, we would not do in just a regular rental property of ours. So again, the Airbnbs are bought specifically for and then utilized differently than the traditional rentals. So yeah,
absolutely.
We'll go through that. And
there's a lot of little unique differences between a regular rental and an Airbnb.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like 100%. An Airbnb has to be closer to a homeowner home. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah, because you don't want guests complaining. And the biggest thing when we launch an Airbnb, we do all the things and we finish it completely because I don't want to put a guest in and then have this thing in the back of my head knowing I have to come do this thing or do this and come back and tweak it. We just do all the things up front before we even list it on Airbnb. And so the reason we even have people staying here tonight is actually the winners of our 50 hassle-free landlord houses in 60 days campaign. They're coming, they're flying from Montreal and they're arriving tonight and we're hosting them in a brand new Epic Airbnb, which is again, something novel, something we can do because we can. And yeah, so they'll be the first guests staying in throughout the whole house. So that's exciting stuff too.
Yeah, we'll have to find another reason eventually to give that trip away.
Yeah, we'll see how this one goes and go from there. But yeah, we're super excited to be hosting them for the weekend. And we just, kind of said, what do you want to see about Saskatoon? What do you want to see about Epic? And go from there. So Alyssa and I will be hanging out with them for the next 2 days and then getting them back on their flight to fly home on Monday. So super excited. Quick trip, but it should be action-packed and fun-filled. So yeah. So I don't know if we want to start right now just to go do the tour.
Sure. Which room are you thinking we should start with?
Well, first? I think if we just go start at the entryway, even if we step outside and then do
sure.
a little walkthrough type thing.
Okay.
And then you can kind of get the full impact. Obviously, we've moved some of the stuff around.
I'm just going to put my hand so you can't see. Otherwise, you'll lose a lot of the effect. Okay. So this is literally, when... I bought the house. This is literally the walking in. I guess we can show a little bit of the front. hard to see with the sun and the way it is, but you can see it's just a cute little kind of character style home. Oh, that's a bumblebee. Don't step on it. It'll be angry. So obviously the first thing when you come in, what do we got here, Rochelle?
We got some warm decor artwork, some little birdies to make it feel all homey and welcoming. So this house, again, this was all here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already like that.
Yeah, you can see the cute little pictures and the nice little hooks that somebody tried to do. And the kind of lines that are there is because they didn't pre-drill before they hung.
Wasn't me. So this, so this is the living room, you can see. So I don't know if you want to just go like stand where you are and then just scoot the camera. So you get the full aspect. So again, you can tell it's an older style home. You've got, there's Bailey, our tech support back there. So here you can tell it's just, again, tastefully decorated. I definitely go overboard when it comes to setting these up. I do all the throw cushions. I do all the little knickknacks, do books, all that kind of stuff. And for us, it's actually the reason that we have a 95% occupancy rate. We're very, very busy with our Airbnbs and we have a lot of repeat people because they know what to expect when they come through our houses, right? And so, you know, the Kleenex boxes, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're trying to, you know, wake up in the middle of the night with runny nose and all of a sudden you're like, damn, I didn't buy Kleenex. Well, you know what, we already have that. So it's these little things like that. And then again, you know,
look at the legs. Look how unique these chair legs are. That's so cool.
The other neat thing is that I literally buy pretty much everything we have on Kijiji or garage sales or the Facebook buy and sells. I'm huge into thrifting. Oh, and we have some liquidation centers here too. So yeah, definitely. I buy all my curtains there. I know exactly what to buy where. I know what price points are for what. I know what's a good deal. I've actually just today ended up selling one of the pictures that I bought for way more because one of our team members was just in love with his picture and I was like, I don't sell my things. And so she offered me money I can't refuse. So I was like, okay, fine, take it. So yeah, so come on through. And again, you can tell like it's so just homey.
Where did you find these lamps?
They were a liquidation at Home Depot, actually. They were like $20 a lamp or something.
Those are wicked.
Yeah, again, super unique things where, you know, it's all in the details, I find. So we always put smart TVs. And so we don't do cable at any of our houses. So they all come with a smart TV. If people ask for a Netflix login, I'll usually give it to them. And then if they keep using it after, I just change the passwords and move on with life. But yeah, for the most part, most people nowadays have Netflix accounts or Disney Plus or whatever that they can watch their own stuff. But yeah, again, like the little decor stuff.
And these windows are like this, right? The frosted
treatments. I didn't do anything in here.
Okay.
Upstairs, we did very, very little actually.
Okay.
It was already painted like this. I just played off of the colors that were already here.
So the walls were painted these colors.
Yeah,
and
yeah, like I said, did not do much upstairs.
Modern. So why this furniture? Why this look? What made you gravitate to that? So
honestly, I usually get inspired by furniture or artwork. And so for this one, when I started collecting a lot of brown things, it really kind of reminded me of like a Parisian theme, like Paris and birds and just elegant but fun. And so for me, again, one day we might do an actual tour or video at one of my staging garages. The girls call it my home sense. So I definitely do have a lot of stuff because I do buy a lot of things, but you know, I saved thousands of dollars by buying a lot of different things. So again, you know, we just work with what we have, but I have stopped buying a lot because we are slowing down on launching any more Airbnbs, but in the meantime, we still keep doing.
So why the books that you pick?
Honestly, I hoard books. Those are just actually from my library. I have an obsession with books. I have books everywhere. And so we had done a flip actually, and there was a built-in library. So I'd taken so many of my books from home and I'm still using those in staging and whatever. And if I want to read it, I'll come get it, read it and put it back. So yeah. And then I absolutely love this. I don't know, it's like kind of reminds me of like a modern day china cabinet. I had actually bought like an actual like entire lot of furniture off of some people that flip furniture to me, and this was in it. And I just thought it was super striking. I didn't know which house I was going to be able to use it in, but I think it fits in very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you want to open the doors and show the stuff that's inside?
It doesn't really matter.
It's like just cute little
it's just again items. Little knick-knack things. Yeah. So I mean, I probably paid like $5 for each of these items. Like it's nothing too crazy. You know what I mean? but it's functional. It's cute. And yeah, usually we'll do like 4 wine glasses here. I put them in here. Usually they'd be in the kitchen, whatever. And then here, actually, I ended up buying this off of like a couple that they flip storage units. Apparently that's a thing, right? And people do it in Saskatoon. So they actually called me and they were like, hey, Rochelle, we have this stuff, you know, do you want to come buy it? And I literally bought it, and we had just bought in this house. So I moved it right directly into here. And yeah, and then I don't know if we want to do the kitchen or the bathroom or bedroom.
Wherever you go, I'm just going to turn around and show them
okay.
the living room from this angle, and then gives you just a little different feel.
Yeah, so if anybody's in Saskatoon, best place to buy curtains, Bianca Amour's Liquidation Center on Avenue C. You will not be disappointed. Curtain rods and curtains, you will not find more affordable selection than there. So pick a bedroom, any bedroom. So here we always try to put queen size beds whenever the rooms will fit them. So obviously this is just bedroom number 1. So you can tell again, just tastefully decorated, nothing too crazy. But I always try to put a bed and 2 nightstands when possible, a dresser and a closet if possible. If there is no closet, I always do either like a built-in wardrobe or something. I always put a mirror. I put a mirror in every bedroom, and I usually try to put one in the bathroom as well. And it's crazy. Most people wouldn't think that a mirror would make a difference.
Oh,
I have had so many people comment being like, I loved that you have the mirrors. And they're like $10 at Walmart. So really no excuse to
So
not.
do you feel that the queen bed also makes a big difference for people choosing your places?
Probably, yeah. I know that, you know, a double and a queen's not really different. It's like probably whatever, 6 inches or something. But honestly, if you've ever slept on a double versus a queen, I can feel the difference, especially if you're gonna have 2 people. So for me, whenever I possibly can, I always put the queens. Sometimes if it's a really small room, we have put single beds or bunk beds, but I try to get a queen wherever I can.
Well, that's what they're going to want, the little details, right?
Yeah.
I think those lamps look familiar. Are those the Costco?
I don't even know, actually.
Okay.
I literally don't know where I
Okay.
buy that stuff. Because if it was hoarded in the garage and then I just
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh yeah, duvet covers, yes. I try to buy all my duvet covers there. They are great quality. The zippers last, and they generally have good stock. So I can always go and, you know, if one gets ruined or wrecked, I can just go buy another.
So what about the thermostat? How are you liking?
Yes. So we've been using the E.P.I.C, and I think it's the 3 light or something like that or whatever. And it's been working really well. The reason that I do smart thermostats, I only do this in the places where there's more than one person. If it's just one person, they can control their own heat. I don't care. But whenever there's more than 2 suites, I control it. And I literally put in the listing that if you need the heat adjusted, you contact me. Do not touch this. It's here. Don't touch it. Because if I have to come here and like give you a slap on the hand, you're not going to like it. So again, this is the stuff I put in the listings, and I expect people to respect that. And if people don't, I will show up on the door and say, that thermostat, don't touch it. I will come and chop your fingers off. And then after that, they just don't touch it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the listing, let's talk a little bit about that, because that also really makes or breaks how it works for an Airbnb. So what would be maybe a couple of key points or instructions that you think have been super beneficial for running Airbnbs?
So again, anybody who has Airbnbs, it's always based off of the host and then the listing. So for all my listings, I make them sound as descriptive as possible. So for any of my places, they're generally on the smaller side. So I always say it's very quaint, it's charming, da 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 da. And I, you know, say exactly what it is. So if this is a main floor suite, you're going to have people in the basement. So again, it's a basement suite. You're not getting the whole house. So don't complain to me when somebody made a noise or farted funny or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you can't control that. So that's the kind of stuff where if it's a suite, I put a suite. If it's a full house, I put a full house, because then there's no, you know, somebody coming in expecting the whole house and they only had the suite. So they have nothing to complain about. The other thing is the pricing. We can talk about later when we've gone through the house, whatever, but being really competitively priced and then figuring out what your offering is. So again, if you're in a really great location, put that in your listing. If you're 5 minutes from downtown, put that in your listing. So all of our Airbnbs are actually kind of on the perimeters of around downtown. So we're always kind of a 5 or 10 minute, you know, I don't want to say walk, but a 5 or 10 minute drive to downtown. Saskatoon, not super big. But yeah, just being really descriptive in the listing. And I'm super responsive. I live on my phone, so I'm really quick to answer any questions and such. But even for hosting. So people have to message you wanting to request your space. I actually decline at least, I'd say almost half of the booking requests we get, because I'm very selective. For us, I want people who have a solid Airbnb account. I'm not generally going to host somebody who has no reviews or who just opened up an account. I'm going to want to make sure that they communicate really fast. So if I respond really quick, how fast did they take to respond back? Because if they took long to respond before they got into my place, they're going to take longer to respond when they're actually in my place. If I just get a bad vibe, whether they don't have a full profile, I like when people have their ID, their phone number, email address, because it means they put in the time, they're serious about this. If you're not willing to put your ID, really, do you need to stay in my house? Probably not. Again, everybody does this differently. I'm just super, super overprotective of our properties. Another thing.
And the side effect of that is, how often do you have trouble with the properties?
Honestly, like I'd say maybe 1 out of 25 guests. So again,
worth the energy.
Totally, 100%. And it, you know, by doing all that screening properly up front, it just literally makes it super easy. And then again, we had a lot of guests who they were understanding exactly what they're coming in for. They, you know, and for me too, like I had somebody message today and they're like, hey, and they asked me like 6 questions. They were like, hey, where are we? And how can I do this? And what's this? And da 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 da. And I was like, honestly, I am really big into being very hands off. And so I'm going to decline this because you sound like a pill. I didn't say it like that, but pretty much. And so again, not a great fit. I said, I want people who are very user-friendly. I mean, Google Maps, figure stuff out, whatever. But anyway, but do we want to continue on?
Yeah.
And then we can sit.
Absolutely. So some more cute decor. I'm always amazed by the decor because I have no eye for
So this bathroom was completely like this.
Yeah.
Completely.
Right?
Literally. Like it's got heated tile floor.
See, I've been well trained. It has heated tile floor?
Yeah. Look at the dial on the wall behind.
Behind me?
No, behind here.
Oh, look at that. I didn't even see that.
See?
That right there is like that extra level of awesomeness for an Airbnb.
Yeah, I can't say any of our other Airbnbs have that.
No. And in the winter, that will be amazing.
So again, nothing fancy, but it works.
Amazing shower curtain. It's got sparkles.
Probably got over 5 months of Valley Village.
Whatever. Is there any kind of component you would add to these, Rochelle, that it is worth spending maybe a little more money on, depending? Like, would there be an item that you would spend a little more? Or is it just a vibe thing? If you walk up and you're just like, oh, I could just use that and know that that'll make a place, I'll spend the extra.
How so? Like as far as the decor or design?
Yeah. No need.
Check out this second room. So this room was super fun. Like again, I usually get my inspiration around a certain item.
Look at that headboard.
I know, right?
Right.
But the inspiration for this room actually came from this picture.
Oh, that's so cool.
So the same lot that I got that China cabinet touch thing, I also got this print. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I completely fell in love with the decor of it. It's not my style, but I was like, I could make a room out of this. So that's what the entire room's inspiration was.
And neat headboard.
Yeah. Again, it was like $100 on
Kijiji. So again, you can see what I was talking about earlier.
So there's a note there. I always put a spare blanket in each of the closets. If there's another, like if there's a futon or another secondary sleeping unit, I always make sure I put an extra secondary bedding set. But unless there's another bed, I don't do that. And then check out this corset. I'm so jacked about that corset. I got it for $20 on Kijiji. And it was like, I was looking for the missing piece for that wall. And I was like, nailed it.
No kidding. I don't have a waist that small, though. That's a fact.
We got the girl.
And make sure when you purchase a house, it comes with a brain trust. Well played, girls. Well played.
So we have Bailey. You guys know Bailey, but we actually have Shauna here too. So she's one of our Airbnb cleaners and helpers, and she's honestly such a gem. And she actually is the one who's hauled ass at helping me get this place ready. So yay, Shauna! And then we got this kitchen.
You thought of me when you bought that. Eat dessert first.
So in this kitchen, everything was already here. Everything was already like this, minus This. So we're still waiting on the kitchen cabinet doors.
That's my fault. They're not here yet.
Anyway, but we wanted to put an over-the-range microwave. So some people would say, well, whatever, you can put a microwave right here. Honestly, these just work so well for us. Something we would never do in a traditional rental, but when we can in an Airbnb, 100% of the time we will. It just, again, makes it more user-friendly for space saving, and yeah, it's a good-sized kitchen.
So like curtains would be another one we would never put in a traditional rental. Yeah. Honestly, that's another example. Same with the pictures and all the little decor things.
And again, if you're thinking about a dishwasher, I would never even put that in an Airbnb. It just had it, so we have it. But it's interesting too, because even if this was going to be a flip to the public, there's so many things in here we wouldn't do, right? Like you can tell, like there's mismatched countertops, like it's a little hokey. And the white appliances, we would never do that if it was a flip, but again, as an Airbnb, 100% works, right? So again, we just need to know what we're doing with each of the properties so that we can make it all make sense.
Just so you guys can see that.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. This is again for the Airbnb stuff, the linens. The linen closet.
Oh,
so
yes.
Again, this is something that we do with, again, all the houses. So we always provide four toilet papers. We always have Q-tips on stock. We always do, so technically you're supposed to have one towel per guest as an Airbnb host. That's what the requirements are. We always do one set per guest. So technically there's a big towel, there's a hand towel, and a face cloth, but this one sleeps 4, so we have one set in there and then these. So we always do 4, 4, and 4. That's overkill, but again, these are nice linens. We buy them from Walmart, and the reason we buy them there is they generally have them in stock all the time, so if one gets wrecked, I can just go buy another one. I don't have to keep a whole other stock, and I like when everything's really matching. So these are the kind of things that I think put us kind of over the top of just a mom and pop, place that was just going to use leftover towels and stuff like that. We also make sure we always have a hair dryer, and then we actually do a basket of little toiletry goodies. Again, this is not fancy, guys. This is Dollar Tree. But again, air freshener, body lotion, shampoo, conditioner, body wash. Again, if people want to use it, it's up to them. Feel free. If they don't want to because they brought their own stuff, or they're like, I'm not using that, it's from Dollar Tree, then don't, whatever. But again, it's the thought that counts. And then again, we've got extra bedding here, just an extra comforter in case anybody gets cold at night. So yeah, forgot about that.
No, that's okay. So what kind of things would you stock the kitchen with?
Yeah, so again, we go a little bit overkill here as well, I think, compared to some other people, but we always have a little goodie basket. So this, again, some people use it, some people don't, not a big deal, but we always do 2 microwave popcorn, 2 Ichiban noodles, 4 instant oatmeal, and then 4 Nutri-Grain bars. That's in our little goodie basket. Again, it's funny. Sometimes people will use 1 or 2 or all of it. Sometimes they'll take all, whatever, but doesn't matter if they're staying for 2 days, doesn't matter if they're staying for a month. This is exactly what everybody gets. They only get it once. Same thing, we don't generally refill paper towel. We don't generally refill toilet paper. If a guest asks when they're staying for a long time, I will. Generally, people don't because usually they go buy their own. But again, every guest is different. Then we always do 4 Keurig cups. And again, if they're asking for more, I'm like, go buy your groceries. This is complimentary, but I'm not your people. Your provider. Coffee mate, again, just because then creamer doesn't go bad. We do, again, same thing, Dollar Tree, 2 kinds of tea and some sugar and sugar twin, and then toothpicks. In the cupboards, where do we put it? So we always do peanut butter, cooking spray, and cooking oil. So again, is that a little bit extra? Maybe, but the guests like it, and it's not really that much. Again, it all comes from Dollar Tree. It's the thought more so than anything. And then in the fridge, we actually do jam. And then we do this, we have some other stuff in here, but we do 4 bottles of water. And then we do mustard, ketchup, relish, and mayo usually. There's no relish here, but that is that. And then in the freezer, we do ice cube trays. That's pretty standard. We always just fill them up. The cleaners are really good for that. We do cutlery. Sorry, this is my stash of stuff. Cutlery, and then there's going to be, just basic kitchen stuff. You've got cooking mitts. Here we got a cutting board. We got saran wrap, aluminum foil. Again, probably a little overkill, but guests appreciate this stuff. And again, Dollar Tree. Nothing. What else we got? And then in here we do a cleaning pail. So the cleaning pail is going to have cleaner, Windex, garbage bags, lint roller, more paper towel. We do complimentary laundry. We just do 4 pods and 4 bounce sheets. Again, people use it, people don't. It doesn't matter to us. It's there. It's a thought that counts. And then we do liquid soap, and then again dish tray. And for here, because there's a
dishwasher.
A dishwasher, we put dishwashing crystals. And then when you look inside the cupboards, you can see we just do, again, very basic, 444. You know, it's there. We make sure that there's a toaster, we make sure there's cutlery, cutting board, and then they've got all the goodies and gadgets they can want. We've got some, you know, pots and pans, pretty much whatever people might need for when they're cooking. Nothing here. And then some bowls, strainer, glassware, measuring cup. Like, it's very basic, but at the end of the day,
you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, and I haven't had guests ask me for more things. This is where we have everything you might need, and the guests are pretty self-sufficient. So this is pretty much summed up the main floor suite, which obviously is a 2-bed, 1-bath, which would sleep 4 people. And
what about the bonus space?
So yeah, this one was interesting because here, obviously, it locks out for privacy. But back here, I didn't really know what to do, but we needed some place that I can put the cleaners' stuff. And so what we ended up doing was, so it's not, doesn't have a door or anything, so it's not private. So for here, we've got all the cleaners. They have all their stuff in here. So again, we always keep backup instead of having to run out all the time. So we do have a big supply warehouse, room, garage that we use. And then this is this backup stuff that we would use. And then we keep the food, obviously food's separate, but there's the backup food stuff. And again, when the girls start running out, they'll let our Airbnb supervisor, Lisa, know. She'll come restock it, and then all is well. And then, so from here, because we have a really nice backyard, it's,
you want to go outside?
We can, yeah. But the backyard, like, you can kind of, you know, if you had kids and you wanted to work from in here, we did a little table and chairs out here so that you can still, you know, be multi-purpose for the outside. So yeah, you can peek outside if you want. So out here, the only thing we did was paint the deck because it was kind of ratty looking. And so, and then we had to cut a tree down because a tree was falling on our house. So that was done as well. But yeah, cute space. So it'll be shared. The upstairs guests, downstairs guests would obviously both have access to here. Use it or don't, doesn't matter, but that's what it is. But it's a corner lot, so you can actually see it's really peaceful out there. And then it's kitty corner from a school park, which is, again, a bonus if you got kids and stuff too. It says actually got a double car garage we'll be renting out separately. So,
these are cool.
Yeah, again, Home Depot or something, or not Home Depot, HomeSense. Watch the stairs. So we did repaint all of this. The stairs were a little bit beat up, so we put just a new coat of paint.
Michelle's younger than me, so she can walk down faster.
So then in here, we've got shared laundry. So nothing fancy. We didn't
just a utility room,
just,
but
if you want to do laundry, it's there.
It's there. Iron, I see.
Yeah, we always do an iron and ironing board because, and I always put it beside the washer and dryer. So here, obviously, they would have to share it if they were going to use it. Most people don't, but it'll get probably 1 out of 50 guests will ask me for it.
Oh, there's the ironing board. I see. Okay.
Yeah. And then this is heading into, I did a theme here too. I actually went with an African Serengeti vibe. So
ooh, I haven't seen this yet.
I know. So this is a 1-bedroom unit. Oops, sorry, it was a little aggressive.
No spiders. That's always good.
No, we killed them all just for you.
Thank you. Oh, that's cool.
So down here, we did work in the bedrooms the bedroom and the bathroom. But
oh, look at the giraffe.
Isn't he awesome? I love that giraffe.
So again, all the same kitchen supplies, even though it's a smaller space,
yes,
are here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we still set it up for 4, even though technically it's only for 2 because setting it up for 2 would be weird.
Yeah.
So we do 4. So again, you can tell this is a really tight space, but again, we just worked with what was already here.
That's a cute table with the wicker.
Right?
Yeah.
They didn't come together.
No?
No, I bought the table for $25 and I got the chairs for $25.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
They're even the same tone of color. Oh, look at zebra. That's cool. Oh, where'd you get? That's a neat lamp.
Yeah, I don't know, garage sale or something.
Oh, those are neat. The little medallions and. They flow with the vibe.
I know, right? I was
So there's the Rochelle on the other end. So like she said, not a huge space, but a comfortable, cozy space.
So again, like getting stuff in here was so tight. I actually just went with 2 nice big chairs because it was just awkward.
Yeah,
so
you weren't going to get a couch. Them, right?
Yeah. So then, in this bathroom, we put in all new flooring because we actually built a wall to separate the
right
bedroom.
Here. That's right.
Yeah, because like that wall in front of Elizabeth, this wall did not exist. Yeah. You could actually walk right into the bedroom, which I thought was a little bit awkward because there was no privacy. And then actually up here, there was no privacy. It was wide open. So if you were using the washroom, it'd be like really weird. You'd like hear people peeing and stuff. And it was just really weird. So I was like, okay, let's button this up. So we put in all new flooring.
And here's an example again. It works in an Airbnb that, you got the gray flooring here and the brown out there. Right. But for a homeowner, you would have probably done the same 100%. Flooring throughout, but there's nothing wrong with that flooring.
Yeah, exactly. So again, for a rental or an Airbnb, people don't look at this because they're not buying it to live in long term. They're just wanting to stay somewhere safe, sound secure, and pretty. And so here,
that's the big difference between a standard rental is safe, sound, secure for both. But that's the pretty.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had these French doors, which again, not super private, especially when they didn't have anything in there. So I actually just finished sewing these curtains like right before we got on here. So this is leading into the bedroom.
Whoa.
So again, African Serengeti vibes.
That is cool. Oh yeah, and then that's just another extra closet space.
Yeah, so the reason
for the window.
I didn't do a closet there. Yeah. So the reason that we did this, so again, like I mentioned before, you used to be able to walk right through here. This was not a private thing, and it was weird and it was awkward. But if we would have put a wall here, we would have lost our window in the bedroom, which would have made it not egress and not livable. So we decided to do it like this. I gotta do right back. We decided to do it like this so that
you have access to the window.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what counts.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, this was already here. So it was really crappy. So Jasmine, our carpenter, got it all braced up and now it's awesome and good to go. And there's a clothing rack in here. So if people want to use it as their closet, they can. So,
and that's a queen bed, isn't it?
That's a queen bed.
See? Queen bed, people. Queen bed.
So you would think that because it's against the wall, there would be some people that wouldn't want to stay that are couples. Honestly, this place will be jam-packed because it'll be between $40 to $50 a night and you get the whole space. So it's hard to beat that.
Cool beans. All right, back upstairs.
Yeah.
These 2 closets at the bottom of the stairs.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
It's just extra storage. Again,
not a bad thing.
Anything, so. So I wonder if we have any questions. We'll go back to sitting and hopefully people will have some questions. Questions?
I don't know if that's in the right spot, but it should stop making people drunk or motion sick.
So do we have any questions?
No, not yet.
Then you guys got to ask some questions, guys. So wasn't that fun?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So anybody who liked that, you guys got to leave a comment. Was that worth it? Should we do something like this again? Because we got a few more of these houses in the pipelines. If I don't get any reactions or I don't get any comments, I'm not bringing you guys through any more of my properties. Let's go.
Yeah.
Give me your reactions. I don't care if it's a thumbs up or a hell yeah, but I want something. Let's go.
Got some action over here.
Woo!
Sandy says looks great.
Woo!
Amy says looks so good, and we're getting hearts.
Oh yay! Thank you. At least you're alive out there. Okay, awesome. So yeah, again, if you guys have any questions, we'd love to answer them. And yeah, you were asking a question before, and I didn't finish it, but I can't remember what it was. It was something about
when you're
listing
your listings. It was to do with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got some more comments. Kathy says beautiful. Amy says yes, more. And Alan says no questions, but a PSA: don't touch the thermostat or else.
Totally. Just listen to the rules. So when people want to send in a request to book in, then obviously I deal with all of the Airbnb guest communications. That all goes through the app and it all goes through me. So from there, I respond and say, oh, hey, blah, 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 have a little bit of a little, chat. And a lot of times, if you're used to staying on Airbnb, which again, I lived in Airbnb the whole time I was in Florida.
Question.
Yeah, question.
Sandy wants to know if you have keyed entry or touchpads or keys or
yeah,
whatever.
So all keyless entry. Yeah. So I'll walk through that whole process. So basically when people say, hey, I'm super excited to meet you. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm a very hands-off host. I'm available if you need anything, but I'm not going to meet you. Everything is set up for automatic check-in. And you're going to get the codes literally at 4 p.m. when the space is ready for you. If the space is ready a bit sooner, I send it as soon as the cleaner is has cleaned the property and is out, but I don't send everything before. So, sorry. So for me, I was like, okay, so I have had people request the check-in information beforehand, and I will not give it. And sometimes people are like, well, I'm traveling, I'm in transit, I won't have Wi-Fi. I'm like, honestly, stop by any Walmart, stop by any McDonald's, stop by any Timmy's. You can get free Wi-Fi anywhere. If you're at the airport flying in, guess what? Free Wi-Fi, you're fine. And so at the end of the day, the reason I don't give the information ahead of time is because if they show up on one of my cleaners early, that could be a safety risk depending on the people. And then the other side of it too is that's going to make my cleaners feel like they're rushed and they're probably not going to do a good job. And I'm not okay with that. Right. So it's a protective mechanism for everybody. And as everybody knows, I'm super overprotective. I have everything under my in my world, I guess, whatever, under my
wings,
reign. Yeah.
Your wings.
Yeah. So any of that stuff, I'm like, I am very, very, very vigilant when it comes to all that stuff. So at the end of the day, when the guest says, yes, I want to book in, then I'm like, great, we look forward to hosting you. Let me know if you need anything before your stay. And then really, I don't talk to them usually again until the day of their stay. The odd time I'll have a guest say, hey, do you have a playpen? Which we will provide. Do you have a blender? Which we will provide. So anytime anybody asks for any of these extra things, we usually have one on hand. We don't leave it at all the properties. We would just go and set it up or bring it there for them during that use. But that's the kind of stuff where as a host, we're fine doing that. And again, it's those little things that people remember in their reviews and people are really grateful for. So yeah, and then when the guest goes to check in, I can actually read a message.
You have some actually requests right now.
Oh, look at that. Look at that, guys. My phone does not stop. So yeah, and you know what? I find weekends really gets busy. I think I've had already 5 bookings today. But so I'll read you one of the check-in instructions. So generally, I would say 9 times out of 10, once I send this to a guest, they'll say, hey, that's so great. Thank you so much. And I never hear from them again until the day before their checkout or the day of. That, for me, means we're doing something right because they had everything they needed. They didn't have any questions during their stay, and they were all good. And so for me as a host, that's what my goal is. I want it to be as user-friendly for them as it is for us. Somebody's asking, do you provide internet? Yes, 100%. We put Wi-Fi in all of our spaces. That's a non-negotiable. I don't imagine anybody would stay in a Airbnb without internet nowadays. And so we used to have cable in a couple of our spaces, but we just didn't really have a huge demand for it. So I actually just discontinued cable in one of the spaces and put in the smart TVs. And I've had no guests say anything about it. And so I was like, hey, this, if you look at it, we were paying, I think $70, $75 or something like that a month. And yet if we switched an old TV to a smart TV by adding a Roku box for $50 one time, or just buying a smart TV for $400, we save so much money over the long haul and just paying the $100 a month for internet at the property, which we were paying internet as well on, the cable and stuff. So again, we're all about efficiencies, but with smart TVs and technology nowadays, I don't know. I haven't had cable for years, so it's interesting. But yeah, so here's a specific property that is in a suited Airbnb we have. So there's multiple doors to get into this place. And so it's a little bit confusing. So again, I always think if I've never been here before and I was going to go to try and find a place or space to get into this house, what would that look like? So some of our houses, you have to go through the side door, side gate or whatever. So literally I'll say, I put house numbers on the gate and I'm like, go to the house numbers on the gate to the right side of the property. There's a string, pull the string, which will gain you access into the backyard. Once you're in the backyard, go to the back door. When you're there, you're going to see a keyless entry programmable thermostat, programmable doorknob. Then put this code in. And if you have to press the code and then unlock, I literally put press this 4 digits, then unlock. Like I put everything in there, guys, everything, because it's insane. And you know why I say go to the back gate and pull the string? Because I've literally had people call me asking me how to get into the yard. I was like, is there a string? Yeah, pull it. They're like, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, this is how sad our world is, guys. So anyway, putting in all the things. So this is a sample reading. And again, I obviously modify it per property. But hi, blah, 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 whatever their guest name is. Here are the check-in details that you will need for your stay at our suite. The suite check-in is all automatic. It is ready for check-in anytime today. Just let me know if you need anything. Property address, I put the address. So this one, for example, blah, 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 Walmer Road, main floor suite. And it literally in brackets, I put go up the stairs at the front of the house because there's multiple entrances into this building. The outside front door for the code for the house is blah, blah, blah. Then press the unlock button. The door code for the main floor suite is blah, blah, blah. So again, for example, the property here, getting into the basement, you're going to have 2 codes. Usually we would keep the codes the same, but sometimes if we had a weird guest or got a weird vibe, I would just send our guys in to change the one code on the outside or whatever. And then, so it might have different codes, whatever. Then I say Wi-Fi details. I put the network name and the password. And I set up the network names to be very similar at all our properties. So it's always Epic and then whatever house. So this one is Epic, Av E, Av D, Av B, whatever house. And then the password's always the same. So again, the cleaners know this and the guests who stay with us multiple times, they just know what the code is. And then I say, please take off shoes on, or please take your shoes off in the house. There's no smoking in the suite. If you have any laundry to do, there's a laundry room outside the back door of the suite, blah, 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 blah. Please be sure to lock the doors whenever you leave the house. You can park in the driveway. This one is first come, first serve, or there's tons of on-street parking available on the road. I always talk about parking because they're going to ask. As a rule of thumb, be sure not to leave any valuables out in the open in your vehicle. Out of sight, out of mind is the motto that I always use. Please let me know if you need the heat adjusted. This is controlled remotely for the full house. If you need to throw out garbage or recycling, the bins are in the backyard of the house. If you're looking at the house, it's to the left. If you require anything else, please call or text me directly at blah, 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 and I will get you whatever you need. Thank you for choosing to stay in our property. Rochelle Flam of Epic Alliance Inc. That's it. Pretty much sums up everything they should need for their stay. And yeah, and I actually get a lot of people commenting, thank you so much for those check-in instructions. It's so thorough. I'm sure we're going to have everything we need. And they generally do.
And, you know, a lot of this came from us too, from traveling, and we'd come across things, and there's been more than once we get there and the instructions were so bad or
not there.
Yeah.
You get in at midnight and you can't get into the house.
Yeah.
You want to see an angry Rochelle?
Yeah.
Do that.
It's true. So yeah, so those are, you know, think of it that way too. Like if you were the one traveling to this location, what would you want there? What would make you feel good about staying there? Right. You know, and again, keep that clean, keep that friendly. Like this is for everybody, but you know, just saying. And yeah, it's really about that homey feel, but you can really tell that it doesn't need to be a perfect house to be an Airbnb. Again, the way the countertops are a couple of different colors, or the flooring in the basement was a couple different colors. Yet this space is just a hair too nice to do a straight rental on. Those are the big
for
our tenants.
Clientele. Yeah. People rent houses like this all the time. That's fine. Again, our clientele is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fair enough. So here's a good question. Is this Sanel? Sorry. You mentioned you rent the garage separate. Is that to the travelers?
Nope. I never give access to travelers for the garage. Ever.
No, you'll make more money just renting the garage to somebody that's looking for a space for storage, or it's cheaper to rent a garage than a 10 by 10 storage unit. So a lot of people go that direction over a storage unit.
The other thing to keep in mind is even if people Google Maps the property, they might say, is a garage included? And I'm always going to say, no, it's not, right? It's on-street parking, it's free, it's whatever. I do make sure that all the outlets on the outside of the house are working because we get really cold here. So a lot of people plug in their cars during the winter time. Bring your own extension cord. I'm not providing that either because if it goes missing, then that's a me problem. Too bad, not my problem. So bring your own extension cord, plug in your car, no problem. The other thing is too, I would never run an Airbnb if there was not a lot of on-street free parking. Because if you're in suburbia hell and you're going to have neighbors blowing up your phone, if there's guests, that 4 guests that are parking in front of their houses, that's never a good scene. So either make sure there's enough off-street parking that no one's going to care, or make sure there's enough available on-street parking. So again, this property is a corner lot. We now have the front plus all of the side. Right? So it's a great location, but we always keep that in mind before we set something up as an Airbnb because we don't need disgruntled neighbors. So yeah, but any more questions at all?
No, we've only got 8 minutes. So
8 minutes.
Oh,
Wow. Okay, let's see if we can go through this. So we didn't really talk about flipping to the public. You know, we can probably keep that for next week. Okay. Yeah. So next week, we're going to bring you from a different live with a flipped property. So that we are going to talk about why we staged that the way we did, why we did the renovations the way we did. That's a gooder. So we'll save all of that stuff. So here we've got, I'm just reading.
Workspaces. This one doesn't heavily have a workspace.
It doesn't.
But I know a lot of Rochelle's other ones do.
Whenever I can fit it, I always do put a desk. And that's why I did that little table in the back. But I didn't want to put a desk because say you get one guest who works solely from the property, and then all of a sudden they're always in that back room. And then you have the other guests coming and they feel awkward because they feel like they're invading somebody's space. I didn't want somebody to be able to come in and set up shop. Right. But yeah, usually if I can put in a corner desk or something and it works in the flow, I'll do it. Again, this property's pretty tight, so I didn't put that.
But it's got an amazing kitchen table.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many times have we been on the road and that's where we sat and worked?
Yeah, 100%. So there's always enough counter space. There's always enough, there's always a good sized table. Again, basement's pretty small, but at the end of the day, when you're looking at that price point, what are you going to get? I mean, it's way better than being in a hotel room because you've got a kitchen plus, you know, you've got the other accessibilities and stuff too.
Price points, I think, was the big one you were going to talk about between your Airbnbs.
Yeah. So whenever you guys are setting up a new Airbnb, what I would suggest is figure out what you're bringing to the table as far as beds, baths, how many people it's going to sleep, and then go and look at other comparables in your market. Because it's funny because sometimes people are like, oh my God, like you're probably charging $100 a night for this. And I'm like, no, I'm not. For this upstairs suite, it's going to be $60 a night. And somebody, you know, might say, well, I would pay way more. Yeah, you say that, but you wouldn't, because when you go to book a space, you're going to look at what other comparables in the market are going to go for. And that's what you're going to pay. Right. And so for us, before we launched anything, I literally go do my market research. Now we're our own market research, right? Because we have so many spaces. But when I was first setting it up, I said, well, what would a 2-bedroom space go for? What would a 1-bedroom space go for? You know, what kind of areas are these? Where will my pictures, and again, pictures are a big deal as well. We just finished this, so I haven't set up the pictures or launched it yet, but I will be doing that this weekend. And, you know, think about the write-ups. I've spent a lot of time and energy into those write-ups, making sure that there's no false advertising. People expect and know what they're going to get before they even walk into my property. And then from there, we'll turn around and just make sure that everything is really synergistic. And so with the pricing, you are always going to be able to charge a cleaning fee. But what's interesting is some people want to charge a higher cleaning fee than they are going to be able to feasibly charge. And the reason that I'm saying they probably want to charge something is our cleaners are a per hour rate.
They're part of our team. Like they're actually on our staff.
Yeah. But for the cleaning, we can only charge what the market goes for. So on a 1-bedroom suite, the cleaning fee that's pretty well used here is $25 a clean. On a 2-bedroom suite, it's probably $40 a clean. On a bigger house, it might be up to $50. It depends on your space. But if I said, oh, well, my cleaners cost me $60 an hour, I'm going to charge $60 an hour. No one's going to book your space. They're going to go with a different place that has a smaller cleaning fee. So you kind of have to figure out what market rate is and then charge that. You can try pushing it by $5 or something, but if it's astronomical, you're never going to be full. So again, for us, even if our cleaning fee doesn't cover the exact cleaning per hour fee, it just kind of gets eaten up into the per night cost, whatever. The other thing to keep in mind is we don't do cleanings in between stays. So even if somebody stays for a month, we don't come in and clean. So I always tell people if they're trying to book in long term, I'm like, hey, just so you know, there's cleaning stuff here. You can have access to laundry. You can clean up after yourself, but I still expect you in 1 month to turn over a neat and tidy property. So you have to keep it clean and tidy during your stay. Keep it upkept. And then at the end of the day, we send the cleaners in. If it's a longer term stay, obviously I mark it down for a longer clean and go from there. But yeah. So Leona says, great info, ladies. Thank you. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. So yeah, anyway, there's so many tips and tricks, but if you're interested and you have any specific questions about Airbnb, always just reach out. I love talking about this kind of stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It's a great thing. Kathy asks, what about a damage fee? So everybody does this a little bit differently. We do not charge a damage fee. So there's multiple reasons why. One is if you have the set up with Airbnb that you don't charge a deposit or a fee upfront, then basically you get their insurance, their coverage. So if you have any issues, you're supposed to be able to do a claim and do all the things, whatever. Thankfully, I've never had to go that route. Again, I'm very hands-on, very communicative with all my guests. And I tell people up front, I'm very overprotective about my spaces. I don't want to beat your face, but I will if I have to, right? So again, very, very hands-on as opposed to somebody being an absentee host. So we don't charge damage fees. We have had the odd one where towels were damaged and pretty innocently, but I will message the guests and say, hey, the cleaner just noticed this. What do you want to do? Do you want to replace it or do you want me to go through Airbnb and then chew up your rating? Your choice. And people are generally like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Let me know what I owe you. And people just send an e-transfer. It's all good. So again, it comes down to communication and being super on it and going from there. So yeah, but we are winding up time here. You guys have any questions, last minute questions? Get them in before we sign off.
Do you put cameras in your properties?
So we do not. Again, I just don't put cameras in our properties just because, one, I don't feel like I need to undermine people like that. And it's creepy. Yeah, it's creepy. Yeah. Again, I know people who generally do cameras in their properties are people who generally have really big houses. These are also usually the same people that would put the noise, the microphones that pick up noise. And they, just to censor for any parties or anything like that. Again, this is why we stick to the smaller spaces. So the biggest house we have right now, it's a tiny house. In theory, it's smaller, but it's a 4-bedroom house. They're pretty small bedrooms, but 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, nothing fancy. No, nobody's going to go in there to party. Another 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom suite. Yeah, we got 2 beds, 1 beds, like just nothing fancy.
And we don't have like hot tubs and we don't have those kinds of, because that's all that stuff does is encourage that.
Yeah. Exactly. And again, at the end of the day, like we're looking for people who are just wanting a quick getaway and they just want to hang out with their friends. And because it's affordable, they're going to stay with us. Everybody does things differently, but we're not attracting party people like at all. And the other thing is, this is why I like the suites, because generally the other guests will hold the other guest accountable. Because and I have had this happen before, but if I have one guest complain about the other guest, I will contact them and say, hey, you need to pipe it down, go to bed. And then if they don't, and I need to show up there, we're going to have words. And I have thrown somebody's stuff out of my Airbnb before and made them vacate the property, and I'll do it again. So again, very hands-on, very overprotective. Don't mess around.
So Anne has a kind of a question. She said she's looking at providing a short-term rental in her small town, in her large house. She's got a couple other comments there, but she's basically just looking at, I think, connecting with you for some more information. Can I just let her know? Or would you like me to read the whole thing out?
No, yeah, we're going to tie up here right away or whatever. But yeah, we can definitely get on a call. I don't email well. I don't deal with the writing. I don't have time for that. But we can definitely hop on a call. I'll answer any questions that might be able to help you out.
That's why we can actually do it.
Yeah, or you call. It's called a telephone and you talk it out. We're good then. Okay. All right. So we're going to wind up. And when's next week's episode? Oh, there we go. The girls are on it.
September 17th at 3 p.m. Sasky time. I don't think there's time change yet, so that'll be 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Pacific.
Perfect. So we're super excited for that one because we're going to be filming where we were supposed to film last week. So that one is a long time coming and it's so pretty. So we're excited to bring you on a tour of that. And we enjoyed our time with you guys. Thank you so much for the amazing comments and questions. We appreciate you. And until next time,
stay epic.
Have a good one.